Hey folks, Rob here with, I guess, something a little out of the ordinary is actual standalone pickup video rather than highlights. Been a few grabbed in them that arrived pretty recently, and they're all arcade conversions on the C64, and I thought, why not batch them together and actually do a quick show of them and show you some footage. This isn't going to replace actual proper reviews of them. I still want to do that. Well, actually, one of them I've already done a review for. But it'd be a good little mix. So hit off the rank. First off is we go to the fantasy zone with Space Harrier. Space Harrier is what 85, 86. So it's pretty early arcade conversion of the arcade game. So it didn't come out too long after. I mean, and to be honest, it's one of those games that you're going to think, why did they even bother trying? You know, Space Harrier was utterly groundbreaking at the time for the scaling hardware that Sega used, that you put in the machine, and you would think that in 1985, 86, you know, games are just going to fit. But they did. It's actually a pretty solid conversion, which I was surprised. I hadn't really played this one back in the day. And I've played a fair chunk of Space Harrier more recently, primarily with the awesome version that's on the 3DS, which I do highly recommend if you do have one. And if you like Space Harrier, you should probably get a 3DS because that's utterly amazing. The C64 conversion's not bad. I mean, it's actually surprisingly. But yeah, I'll say again, I'm going to save that for a future review. But we'll do a quick run later. Next up is, oh man, a little glare there. Operation Wolf. Again, I actually did have a copy as a kid. It was good to actually get that. It's actually really solid conversion. You know, you'd think the arcade light gun games are the kind of things that aren't going to work on a home computer. And to be honest, that's actually pretty true. You know, especially playing with a joystick. Operation Wolf actually supports a NEOS mouse, at least in its PAL version. The US version was actually slightly modified and supports Commodore's own 1351 mouse, which interesting direction. And from what I've seen, it actually plays really well with that. And I do have one actually around, so we'll actually check that out when it comes to doing the gameplay. But that's a really good conversion. Graphics, presentation, especially you'd consider because that machine, again, a lot of scaling tech, it actually gets away with it. Third up is good old Arkanoid. Again, another really good early conversion. It's what, 87? But pretty good machine, and the amount of control options that has for the C64 version is quite over the top. So again, I wanted to actually have that. A couple of months ago, I actually got paddles, so that I can actually play that with paddles, which is really how Arkanoid is meant to be played. Paddles are a spinner, but we don't have a spinner on the Commodore. Really good conversion, really put together well. Admittedly, it does have a couple of little bugs in it, but it's not the end of the world with that. And fourth is actually the one that I have actually done a review for, which is of course the conversion of Salamander. Glare. Which is actually probably, if not the, one of my favourite shooters on the 64. Although, like I said, if you haven't already seen it, I'll throw up an annotation or something to link to the original gameplay, as it was actually the first one I did. So that could be good or bad. But it's an amazing conversion. It is a multi-load. So far, the other three weren't, but that is a multi-load. And while that usually sounds the course of doom, it surprisingly wasn't. It's surprisingly not that bad on tape. I should admit, they're all tapes. I just find them easy to collect, and like I said, I love these double cassette cases and the clamshells. Whereas discs in there, they tend to be from what I gather, a lot of disc games tend to be really thin wallets. And I've got one of Access's Beachhead, but it seems to be, which is really irregular. Released in Australia tend to be like sort of thicker cardboard boxes. Interesting. But yeah, Salamander is an utter classic. And if you haven't already checked the gameplay I did of that, I will just say check that. I'll link it. You can check it out. And the last one is another of the early classics is Green Beret. Again, it's another just all-star conversion. It's put together brilliantly well. It's slick. It's got some nice colourful graphics. Utterly amazing game. And again, I played a lot when I was younger, but to have a proper copy for the Sega collection is always a good thing. again, cover the gameplays and just sort of demo them all. And otherwise, I will see you on the flip side with the 64 fighter. Here we are for the first game up, which is of course the conversion space area. Pretty basic sort of setup here. One thing I didn't mention was that it was actually conversion was handled by Chris Butler, who did a lot of great conversions on the 64 in the earlier days. So I'll hit fire and let it go. Apologise for no video of me with this. It's I have experimented with trying to do this a little differently, and it didn't quite work so well. I really need to get a proper camcorder instead of trying to use the phone. But the capture is working. Should be working fine as always. I mean, we can see it's sort of right, does it? It's a good conversion. It's playable. I mean, my only real complaint is really the fact I've got to jab the button so much. I don't know how well that's going to be picked up audio-wise. That ain't the same without the digitized screams from the arcade game, but we can sort of see how it feels. I think that's enough. Yeah, first stage is enough for first impressions. I'll show you the next game in a bit. Okay, now we're on to game number 2, which is Salamander. Okay, I'm probably only just gonna play the first stage with this. You know, as I said in the introduction, I've already done the gameplay of this way back. So I'm happy to pretty much show you there. Pretty simple menu screen, so I'll just hit fire and let it load stage 1. Yeah. The good news is the loads aren't too bad for this, as I did say. Hey, you've got a bit of the retro experience. I tend to avoid a lot of this when I do my actual gameplay, so little surprise for something a little different. This is the only multi-loader out of the batch, and I think we're almost there. Think of it as a poor hypnosis bit from a spy movie. I'll never forget when I saw that is how these various raster patterns were described in a magazine back in the day. Times like this do make me wish that the cartridges, like the later era GS cartridges, did actually take off. Especially when, yes, you have some really cracking games with loaders like this. But it's all part of the nostalgia. Got excited for a minute there. When it finishes loading the level, it goes for solid grey screen, and then you hit fire. There's no prompt, which I thought that was the grey screen. The one thing I always like with the C64 over other micros is that because you have the tape drive built in, like you have the tape drive powered off the computer, you can actually control whether the mode is running. So usually properly programmed games, when they finish loading the level, they can actually stop the tape motor, and you're good to go. You don't have to fiddle about stop the tape before you run into a problem. So we've got that here, which is pretty cool. Here we go. Now we've got the right question. I hit fire, we're in level 1. Get the shield, we got the ripple fire. Other than the shield, one of them's powered up already, which is where I like this, especially over the conversion of Nemesis, Gradius, which of course was Nemesis for those of us in the PAL region. Utterly terrible. This is probably the worst I think I've ever played this game. Oh well. Maybe it's, I guess, what I get for using here. Ah! I really need a... I think I need a joystick with a little less throw distance. I'm using my Well, there we go. That's a stage 1. It's nice I didn't have to actually reload. That was a surprise. So I'm going to switch over, load the next game, and here's number 3, Arkanoid. I will actually just play this with the joystick, so I'm probably going to be terrible at it. Joystick, 1 device, 1 player. And you can just see there, it was the amount of options. There's our little backstory. And our title screen, which is also a loading picture. Nice little coincidence, that. I haven't really played this in a long time. And again, you'll see some really nice 50Hz images. I get a lot of interlaced noise running it through the capture hardware, which I usually put up with, but... So I'm definitely going to play a little more rubbish than I usually do. I actually do play this better than this, trust me. I have another shot, but... Let's see if we can beat 1400. I missed the extend. Maybe that's better. So you get the deal. That's Arkanoid. It's good fun. I look forward to doing a real review soon. And here we are with the last one for the batch, Operation Wolf. Sadly, Green Beret failed to load, and it's actually a little tricky to load the tape version, even with off like a tap image with off the 1541 Ultimate. It has some weird like loader protection, which not many other Ocean Imagine games do. Oh well. So because of that, I'll definitely do a separate gameplay of it. Hopefully be a little less fiddling around than I do now. Anyway, Operation Wolf, we've got the control options, so I will of course play with joystick. So I expect to do even more rubbish as you expect. But hey. Now that power-up's more like it. Super bullets, yay! Gives the hand a workout, but you can sort of see the idea. Wander through, be a little more frugal with ammo than I've been. No! No bombs! Come on. That's better. See if we can actually complete the stage. 5. Oh. No! Come on. Oh, one magazine. Yeah! We finished stage 1. We're almost dead. Yeah, I'm not going to survive this. No, already out of ammo. Yeah, I'm done for. Oh well. Yeah, that really feels like it's better with me really wanting to play that with something like the NEOS mouse. So that's our last one. I won't bother continuing. As I said, Green Beret failed to load. I'll do separate gameplay of that in the future. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for subscribing. As usual, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button for a thumbs up. If you want more C64 and maybe the occasional other bit of gameplay footage, do hit subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.